All right, everyone. Welcome to Nerdcamp Sports.
Welcome.
I'm moderating tonight. Mike Williams got Agent Solstice. We're here to get started. How you feeling tonight, brother?
Not great, but we'll get into that. That's okay. How about you, Mike?
I'm alive. So
we are alive. We're here.
Look at the bright side. At least you had to.
We're gonna play. We're gonna have some fun on this podcast. That's what's gonna. It's gonna be better for the next 2 hours or so.
Absolutely.
Probably not. I don't think it's gonna be that long. There's only 4 games to talk about. And I don't know.
Yeah, exactly. So let's get started with. And I know you said off air you didn't really watch this game, but the Seahawks dominated yesterday against the 49ers, or whatever day that was.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was real bad.
It seemed like it, yeah. I heard one of the guys the Bills should have traded for, Rashid Shaheed, returned a touchdown.
That started the game.
Yeah,
that started the game.
Yeah, exactly. Just
first play, 13 seconds off the clock, 7-0. And when that happens, that really sets the tone for the game. But I want to get your opinion on the reason was Kenneth Walker had 3 touchdowns yesterday. The defense was stifling. And special teams got 7 points as well. It's 28 points of their 41. You know who had 1 touchdown yesterday? 127 yards? Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold, to me, and I've said this, when it comes to playoff football, there are points where your quarterback has to win the game. Your defense ain't going to play like that every game. You are not always capable to do that or able to do that. What are your thoughts on not so much the Seahawks performance, but Sam Darnold's performance? And can they play that way all the way through? Like, can they play that way and win the Super Bowl?
I mean, they've kind of done it before, if you think about it. With it was rookie Russell Wilson that they did that. They actually went to the suit. Second year, I think. Yeah, he was drafted in 2012. Second year, Russell Wilson. It was the Legion of Boom, Marshawn Lynch, Percy Harvin returning kicks. Like, it was. We've seen this before, actually. So, I think if Sam Darnold just continues to play smart football like he's capable of doing, this Seahawks team is actually good enough to do the thing that a good GM is supposed to do and acquire an entire group of a team that makes the entire job for the quarterback easier so that he doesn't have to do everything himself.
Okay. That makes sense.
Can Sam Darnold do it in crunch time? I want to see it too, Mike. I want to see it too. I'm very curious. But you know what? Right now, this Seahawks team looks really good. And sometimes that's really what all matters.
Yeah. And that's just it. To me, Kenneth Walker's not going to rush for 3 touchdowns every week. With them going into a game now against the Rams, who they split the season series with 1-1, and the Rams, who really don't get blown out. They play great defense. And if you can they could throw points up on a bunch. Both of their games were close. I think their first game was 21-19 in favor of the Rams, and their last game was 37-36. Seattle on a 2-point conversion A little bit of some questionable calls in that game, but be that as it may, I'm expecting a close game. Maybe not the highest scoring, 24-21, 20-24, something like that. But to that point, you are correct. I will say that because I'm looking at it as I still don't trust Sam Darnold.
That's the thing. At this point, I'm not sure we have to, and that's the crazy thing. Like,
I'm saying,
Seattle is, we'll see, because like we've seen, like Matthew Stafford make mistakes in the playoffs. This game's going to be outside.
Absolutely.
So not to say that they're always that bad outside, but I feel like it does make a difference, especially in the cold. But it's gonna be a great. This is the game I'm way more interested. I think everyone should be more interested in for the AFC Championship game.
Oh,
but or in the championship, that sucks.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. I don't. I mean, the game that they played, the 37-36, whatever that was, it was the 1 point win. Like, that was a shootout that they managed to win. I remember, if I recall correctly, like Darnold, he played pretty well. Like he still had like a mistake or two, but like, if it's just going back and forth like that, like we just saw in the Patriots and Texans, where it's just a sloppy game, sometimes it happens like that. Just find a way to get whoever can find a way to get done, and that's why we kind of do trust Matthew Stafford more than Sam Darnold to get it done. Is that because he has got it done before? But it really is like this Seattle team is they're the whole team very surprising for where I thought they would be to start this year, and they are just a vicious defense and very good special.
Absolutely.
And that's that old school football.
Oh yeah, hard hitting, hard nosed defense, just ready to knock your socks off. Well, we're gonna see what happens with that for sure. So that was you know what? I'm gonna save Buffalo for last out of the 4 games.
That's fine.
And I want to talk about the Patriots. The Patriots and the Texans.
Yeah.
Now I picked the Texans to win this game. This was to me a test for Drake May. And this is what proves my point of when the quarterback has to do his job. CJ Stroud did not do his job yesterday. CJ Stroud did not look good at all. When you are turning the ball over and you're not able to get the ball down the field, it's a problem. His first season, his rookie year, he was stellar. He was phenomenal. Like, I feel like, and this is going to be weird to say, but Houston knows how to start quarterbacks and then destroy them. Somehow. Their last, the one before that, he ain't too good these days, and he just keeps getting hurt. But in your opinion, is CJ Stroud that guy? Can he be a franchise quarterback?
I mean, to his credit, he was definitely fighting a losing hand without his top 2 weapons. And if I recall correctly, Christian Kirk had a pretty bad drop yesterday too. Like Dalton Schultz, he played like shit yesterday, but I mean, hey, this is now 3 for 3. He's made it to the divisional round in his career. So you just keep giving yourself chances, right? That's all you can hope for. So, I mean, I feel like this team was predicated on the defense. When I was talking about this team in the past couple of weeks, when I was like, I felt they were the scariest team, I didn't realize that Nico Collins was going to be injured So it was like this injured this long. I thought he was going to be back. I thought so. That was on me. I didn't do the research, but it's this team has. They should be getting Tank Dell back next year, right? Hopefully he's something like he used to be. So that was bad.
Can he stay? Hopefully he can stay healthy. Like
I mean,
he comes back and then he gets, and it's not like he has a hamstring injury. Like this dude's tearing ACLs, tearing Achilles. Like, bro, what are you doing? Like, what are you doing that's causing this to keep happening? These type of catastrophic injuries.
I feel bad. It's literally like kind of freak shit because the first time it's because his offensive coordinator lined him up on a goal line situation, like all 5-10 of them. Like, so that was a bad choice that tore his ACL. And then the second one was that, last year against Kansas City when, he's just going out making a great play and Kansas City's going out trying to make a big play and he ends up just bashing right into it and just turning his knee inside out basically. So
right.
I feel for the dude. It's the Texans have a chance. Like CJ Stroud, he's going to be motivated from this. This was a bad playoff loss. Something that they're going to we kept shooting ourselves in the foot. They're going to want to get back to the game, and they're going to have a good chance based on their division, I think, because Titans, they have a lot of work to do. Jaguars, they're going to be there. Colts, we'll see. We'll see what's going on with them.
Well, I'll say this about the Texans. Now, yes, you're right. They did not have Nico Collins and who's the other guy? Or they didn't have Tank Dell, right? What we've also forgotten is we can't eliminate that Stephon Diggs had torn his ACL and was on this team last year. So that's another thing. We also cannot
on the other sideline.
Right. We also cannot forget that they were expecting Joe Mixon to come in at some point. He did not play at all this season. So when you look at that, there was only so much. And I believe in next man up, but sometimes there's too many injuries. They drafted that young guy Jay Higgins or I know it's Higgins.
I think he made a good play yesterday, if I recall.
He started to get better as the season progressed. His utilization came up. But what this team needs to focus on is health. Because to me, if they can get healthy, stay healthy, they can compete with anybody. Especially defensively, they can beat anybody with that defense. That defense is disgusting. And yesterday against New England, it played great football. But the offense was not able to me, football is you would like your offense to go out there and score points and have your defense protect what the offense is doing. And it's very rare you're going to win games if your defense has to make up for the offense, which is like when I look into like Steelers groups and people are like, oh, it's our defense's fault. No, it's not. This season for the Steelers was about the offense having multiple times where it was stagnant. If the defense is out there 35, 40 minutes a game, guess what's going to happen? They're going to get tired. They're going to give up points. And then the offense isn't capable of making it up. That works the other way, and that's what happened here. The defense kept them in this game up until the fourth quarter. Like they were in the game. Like granted the picks, the fumbles, the turnovers, like Stroud was just, I don't know what. They were in the game, but the offense has to make plays. Get Schultz some short passes. Get him going. Get some plays in between the numbers. There were gaps there. Like do some things that are different. I just don't see
it might have been
without that help. Yeah. In your opinion, and I know you don't want to answer yes to this question, but I'm going to ask it. Can the Patriots win the whole thing?
Oh, yes, they can. Yes, of course. Very much so. They're very much in this. I mean, they're cake walk into the Super Bowl. All they got to do is win the game. That's all they got to do. They got to find a way to just not beat themselves and make Sam Darnold do the thing. Make Matthew Stafford play a whole game completely, cohesive and actually
And me, of the 4 teams remaining, I think they're the most dangerous left. And I say that because the Texans were the number 1 defense.
Yeah, now they're the better the Seahawks would be the next best defense, but the Patriots are a very well balanced team.
I mean, to me, they're balanced.
So go ahead.
They're balanced, yes, but what I'm saying is now, they do everything well, right? And they do everything well. And I think that, if they can, I think if they do everything well, definitely. You can't. Sorry. If they do everything well, they could definitely win between their receivers, between their run game, and let's be honest, Drake May is everything they hope to be. And right now, looking at the landscape, when you look at the guys we've talked about over the last, 10 years, 7, let's say 7, Mahomes, Allen, Burrow, and Lamar, we're looking at something that's looking at a guy that's coming up and can definitely make a difference in this league and be that top guy. I think because even though they had a softer schedule this season, if they win a Super Bowl, that don't matter.
I agree.
It don't matter no more.
Yeah.
Don't matter because you went into the playoffs and beat the teams that you didn't play in the season.
That we're still just a fucking cakewalk.
Yeah. But
a ring's a ring.
This is true.
I'm not going to argue it. I'm just going to be upset.
So let's talk about the Rams and the Bears. That game was something. Had a lot of stagnant moments. But I'll tell you, Caleb, man, he has a bright future. But what are your thoughts? Did the Rams win this game or did Chicago lose it?
They both wanted to lose the game. They both did a really good job of almost giving it away. So this was just a well thought out playoff game that we're gonna remember. It was a good game to look at, between the snow and just just what a fucking throw by Caleb Williams. Holy shit! But then the next drive, he's really just one play amazing. The next, just what is going on, bro? It's great. He's quite a Josh Allen-esque player. He's got his movement is closer to Patrick Mahomes, but his wild roller coaster nature is much closer to Josh Allen.
Okay, I can see that. I see what you're saying. Well, I think for him, He's got to make smarter choices. And I think that interception wasn't his fault fully because his receiver was not looking for the ball. He wasn't even running the direction where he threw it. He was going like up further. Like he looked like he was going up and over, like he expected the ball to come further or if at all.
I mean, a miscommunication. There's no way for us to. No way for us to know, who that would be on.
Right, but be that as it may, he threw the pick. I think he had 3 picks yesterday, and he's got to just really
all sorts of turnovers this divisional round. Jesus
yes.
Christ.
I mean, you have to look at this. And listen, Ben Johnson went in there. He has turned this team around. He has gotten more out of Caleb Williams than was given in year 1. But now there's expectations because now you were number 2 in the conference. You won your division. I expect the Lions to be back. I expect Green Bay to be better next season. I even expect the Vikings to figure some things out, to at least be competitive. Maybe not be there, but to be competitive.
They still found a way to get 9-8. That was crazy.
Exactly. Like they're shooting themselves for letting Darnold walk. How could you not? The guy went in there and won 14 for you last year, and then, whether it was him or not, he won 14 out in Seattle. So, no matter how you look at it, it's on the Vikings have to do something to become better. But I want to say, if I'm going to hold Darnold accountable, I got to hold Stafford accountable. He was not good yesterday. I don't remember his yards, but I know he didn't have a touchdown. And he even said it like we weren't good on offense because they weren't.
Yeah, see, they didn't play all that well outside in the cold.
I'm sure to an extent they're happy to be going back west.
Yeah, a place they're more used to, less wind, just more noise.
Absolutely. But their defense played good. Rams defense has not been spoken about as heavily since what's his name? Aaron Donald retired. But I think that their defense is good enough to win the games. I mean, listen, Puka Nacua he's a star. The dude had 1,715 yards this season, 10 touchdowns. And the sad part is, if it wasn't for Smith and Njigba, he would have been he would have been the receiving champion. What are we doing here?
I mean, so we're seeing we're seeing the top 2 receivers going at it in the NFC Championship. That's exciting.
And then you have 2 quarterbacks this week who didn't didn't work up to what they could. So listen to me, this game potentially could be the Super Bowl if we're being honest, because what we may get, and I think you said it the other day, and I was telling my wife, is I'm like, I think you wrote stats about most of the combinations are recent rematches that we've seen within the last 10 years, right? I mean, if it's Seattle.
The only thing that wouldn't be a rematch is Broncos Rams. That's the only one. Everything else has been done before.
Nobody wants to see that. I had a guy
not without Bo Nix, that's for sure.
I had a guy, bro, in my comments because I wrote something to the effect of whoever won that game yesterday was going to the Super Bowl, and one of my boys was like, "Oh, our backup ain't no bum, right?" You know who their backup is, right?
Is Jarrett Stidham?
And I'm like, bro, wasn't he on the Raiders and did nothing Like he's a backup for a reason. There's no way. And I'm like, listen, I told him, league, this is business first. There's no way in hell they're gonna allow Jerry Stidham and the Broncos to go to the Super Bowl. That would be treacherous. Now, if you still have Bo Nix, we can deal with that, right? But this dude is a bum, and man. And I told him, I'm like, regardless, that you're gonna lose. I said because he's not gonna be able to do much. Like you're gonna get beat up no matter which defense you play because New England's defense is good, you know. And then I said, then like, like your offense is gonna be stagnant. It's gonna be a long day.
Yeah,
it's gonna be a long day. You know, I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of people who don't want New England to win. Me, I'm like, listen, whatever at this point. Whatever. But I sure as hell do not want to see Denver near the Super Bowl, given what they have now. So, one more game here. I know you have a lot to say. So, I'm going to just step aside and give you the floor. You say whatever you want. I ain't even going to ask no questions yet. I'm going to just let you have the floor. And when you want me to speak, you let me know or whatever. Just go ahead. I'm going to let you have the floor. Bills, Broncos. Go ahead.
That was the worst possible outcome. I don't think that was unfathomably the absolute worst thing that could have happened Saturday. We lose. Both teams lost. We both knocked each other out. Like that's really how that is. Like Patriots winning. Like they're not gonna. There's no way Jarrett Stidham's beating fucking a full healthy Patriots team. But I came up with, and I think a lot of Twitter will appreciate this if they ever come across this. That I came across. I put together a top 5 list of things that are the reason the Bills lost on Saturday, and not among these is the refs. The refs would not have been involved if these other 5 things didn't happen. So,
go ahead.
Number 5, Jesus Christ! Of course it refreshes. So number 5 is a lack of pass rush and edge contain. Like far too often, we haven't gotten a sack on a playoff loss since the 2020 AFC Championship. Yeah, how bad's that? That's 6 straight years. We've just lost the 6th straight playoff game. We haven't had a sack since the first time we were in the AFC. That first 22. Yeah, it's been that long, and just far too often, Joey Bosa can't keep his end of this thing, and the running back gets around him and goes for a first down. Like it's just too often. I won't miss him after he's gone this year. Number 4 is somebody that wasn't even in Denver on Saturday. Somebody that wasn't even in Jacksonville the previous Sunday for when the Bills played the Jaguars. It's a bit of a crazy, wild sequence, domino effect. But number 4 is this motherfucker, Darius Slay. And I know you may be thinking, when has Darius Slay ever played for the Bills? He's never played for the Bills. We did sign him on waivers, and he never reported.
Oh.
Yeah, he wanted to play for the Eagles, and there was a thing where they said, "Oh, they talked, and they were like, oh, get released, and we'll sign you." And the Bills stepped in and got him on waivers, and he was like, "No, I'm not reporting." Because we did this, we made room for Darius Slay on our roster by waiving Jamarcus Ingram, who was then picked up by the Texans. Jamarcus Ingram's a cornerback, as is Darius Slay. So now we're down a cornerback because Darius Slay didn't show up, and we released a cornerback.
We made room for Slay.
Yeah, so now we're down a cornerback, period, end of sentence. So fast forward to week 18, a relatively useless game, like the against the Jets, where we're basically resting everybody, but we're down cornerbacks, and we don't have enough to play. So we're actually playing like Tre'Davious White the entire game, and we have our rookie cornerback, Maxwell Hairston, get in there because we just need someone to play, and he gets injured in week 18. Because he gets injured, he's injured for the playoffs, we get Dane Jackson. And Dane Jackson gets one fucking snap against the Broncos after Tre'Davious White goes down with a small injury, and it's a fucking touchdown right at him. Number 3, Ogunjobi offsides. Thanks for that fucking that cost us 4 points. Or 3 points, 7-3, whatever. That cost us points. Number 2, Josh Allen, 4 turnovers. He did not play well. He tried too hard. The play right before half is a direct reason why this game went to overtime. He didn't that's also Sean McDermott. We're trying to be too we didn't have timeouts. There wasn't that much time. We should have kneeled the ball. I thought we were going too aggressive, and there he goes doing some 2019 shit, losing the fumble. He got us back in the game, and we actually had the lead, and he had a chance. No, Josh Allen didn't play enough. He didn't get it done. This time, he was not good enough, period, end of sentence. But, in my giant opinion, none of these 4 turnovers of his happen if, number 1, James Cook does not fumble. Because if James Cook doesn't fumble, we go 14-3, and absolutely the entire game shift changes. And then, the refs wouldn't have been involved in any of it. It should have never got to that. All of that, we just self-imploded again and had some external bullshit. That's the Buffalo Bills for you. But for those who have probably heard at some point today, Sean McDermott has been relieved of his duties after the loss. I am somebody who has actually been calling for a new head coach for some time.
Some years now.
Yes, actually years. I was always under the assumption when I was doing this that he was tied at the hip with Brandon Beane. Brandon Beane has now gotten elevated, has gotten a promotion. President. He's got a promotion to the president of head operations as the Buffalo Bills. If you could have asked me at any time, you could probably find it on my Twitter profile somewhere. I would have said if you gave me a pick to only fire one of these 2, I would have fired Brandon Beane before I would have fired Sean McDermott. I think this is a mistake. I think Sean McDermott is the one that has established the culture, and if you're gonna fire someone, fire them both. But if you're only gonna fire one, it should have been the GM who's not giving Josh Allen enough help, who's put so much resources into the defensive ends and defensive tackles that can't get pressure, that aren't healthy for these big games that matter, that went on the local radio and was being a smug asshole about everyone talking shit about our receivers, and that was just a giant fucking problem all offseason, and he had the opportunity apparently to alleviate this situation by going and getting Jalen Waddle. All we needed was to change the 2027 first to a 2026. We do that. We probably go beat that game, and we probably go win that game in Miami. We might also win the game in Philadelphia. That'll give us the first seed, and I promise you we win this game against Denver if we got a bye and all this sort of shit wouldn't have happened. So I'm okay with letting go of Sean McDermott, but ultimately I think it's a mistake because we're not also getting rid of Brandon Beane.
He's getting promoted. He's going to have more power.
Yes. He's now going to choose the coach.
Oh man.
Yeah. I mean, unless Sean McDermott really was the guy hammering the table for Keon Coleman and Boogie Basham and Cody Ford and Landon Jackson and TJ Sanders, like there's and Kyer Elam, and like there are so many higher end draft picks that we've made that have been woofs. Like a lot of our later round draft picks have been awesome, like Khalil Shakir, Christian Benford. What should we call? I mean, we did get James Cookson one. We got Spencer Brown in the third round. Like we've had some good success in the late rounds, but like we've wasted a lot of good draft capital and a lot of wasted resources. Like what? Like $12 million on Curtis Samuel? Like whoa.
Who's not even like
he got
like
a.
He's not even a middle tier player.
Somebody did the math. For us, he got like fucking like $500,000 a catch for us. Like,
man, I mean, when you look at all that Buffalo has done, it doesn't seem like they've done it. And the GM's done everything to put this team, in position to win.
I do not think the GM has.
And that's an issue because you fired your coach who, a couple years ago, like you said, you were on the fire McDermott bandwagon. And
it was never because he's a bad coach. It's never because I thought he was a bad coach. I feel like he's a good coach, not a great coach. We need someone to get to the top. He was good enough to like get the group around it, but he's not good enough to like outsmart the Sean McVays in the world. Like,
yeah. And well, sometimes he makes bad calls. He calls bad plays, and you can't
be perfect. That's for sure.
Right, but when you look at this now, and you look at everything Buffalo's been through, I didn't watch any of what the media said today. Obviously, excuse me. My job's not cool and didn't give us today off. So you look at everything Buffalo's been through now, and you look at everything that they've had. Do you think, and this is going to sound like an asinine question, do you think that it's time that Buffalo lets Josh Allen out of his misery? I watched a video. I don't know if you've seen it. I believe I shared it.
His press conference.
Of him being interviewed after every loss in the playoffs. This year, he was crying. Now, he understands he threw 2 interceptions. One was very questionable, right? Because to me, you go down there and that point in the game and you score, even if you go up by 8, you've pretty much won the game. But if you go for 2 there and then you go up by 9, you pretty much would have won, right?
Yeah.
But the interceptions killed, but that fumble before the half, and that field goal Denver was able to get as well, that was hurt. That was painful too, because I don't even understand what the hell he was doing. I'm like, bro, what are you doing? Why would you do that? And you fumbled the ball. You trying to go this way. He threw it that way. I'm like, what are you doing?
It was so bad. It was embarrassing to watch.
Because the only reason I asked that question is because I've seen something That said, should Buffalo move on from Josh Allen? Now, to me, that sounds asinine, which is why I asked it the other way around. Should Buffalo let him go versus him wanting to leave Buffalo? He's loved by his fans. He's loved in that city. He's brought more eyes to Bills football in the last 7-8 years since they went to those Super Bowls. Like, the Bills were one of the laughing stocks of the league. So and obviously you're gonna say no to that, in my opinion. So if the answer is no, since the answer will be no,
the answer
right?
will be no.
What happened? Okay. What should the Bills do to help him? Because to me, I can understand why he was upset more so this year. Think about it, right? And let's before you answer. I know I keep asking questions and keep talking, but this year the kryptonite was gone. Mahomes did not make it to the playoffs. Joe Burrow was not in the playoffs. Lamar.
I don't want to hear Lamar. I'm tired of hearing it. I don't care. Even if Lamar was there, we've beaten him twice. I don't want to hear him. I don't give a shit.
He wasn't there, though.
I don't care. He can be there. We'll beat him again. Not afraid.
But what I'm saying is, regardless of that, the people who everyone predicated on aren't there. You had the likes of Drake May, Trevor Lawrence, C.J. Stroud, Bo Nix. All the AFC quarterbacks that went, he was the best one. All the people who could have gotten in your way, quote unquote, were out. They didn't even make it, let alone compete for it. This one's hurtful. And I said it on here that the Bills needed to do it this year. Even though the narrative would have been Mahomes wasn't there, this, that, and third, who gives a shit? Because like I just said earlier with Drake May, if he goes and he wins, no one's gonna remember that soft schedule. He's gonna have a Super Bowl ring.
Oh, I won't forget.
Yeah, I'm sure you won't. But in terms of general football analysis, they're not going to look at he faced 11 teams under 500 to get there. At the end of the year, the man was hanging a Lombardi and was given a ring the following September. But what should Buffalo do to fix this situation?
I mean, I really don't think Brandon Beane's going to actually fix this situation. If you're asking me, I definitely want another. I want to make sure the defense, Josh Allen has a defense above all else. That is important. It is important to make it, especially if he's going to turn the ball over as much as he does. I can't be mad at the Sean McDermott defense this past against the Broncos. 33 points. Yeah, it went to overtime and we had 5 turnovers. That's not bad for all the shit that they were dealt. So they have some pieces that are there that are good. They got James Cook, Christian Benford he's back to his self. He was really good this year.
Right.
I think we've got Spencer Brown. He's a really good right tackle. He's still young. We've got Khalil Shakir. He's a great Julian Edelman type. He's not the guy that's going to burn you over the top. But if you get some space, he's going to make some plays on the inside. We're just not creating that space. So we need to shore up the cap space, which it's not great, but it's not terrible either. I would say, my personal opinion, I think I would really like to see Brian Flores get a second chance at a head coaching career.
I believe he deserves one.
I think the shit that he dealt with in Miami, he did pretty decent for what he was dealing with there. They've never really had a good GM there. I believe he was, he got Tannehill to a playoff game, and then Tannehill got injured for the playoff game. And then he was the guy that refused to tank. And then he was also the guy, if I recall correctly, he didn't want Tua, which is why he got fired. And they got Tua. They brought Mike McDaniel in, and Mike McDaniel made him look like an all-pro. So I think I would be pretty happy to see either Brian Flores or Clint Kubiak come to Buffalo. Clint Kubiak, the Seattle offensive coordinator, get like a more young mind in there. He seems very good. Either them or maybe Robert Saleh.
I mean, I could see that. And I think now, when we were talking about the jobs available, the Ravens job was the best one. And this one's up there too. I think it's more or less getting the right coach who can get the most out of the Buffalo players. Like, that's the key, is getting the most out of the players. And
we had someone good with Sean McDermott. Like, that's the thing. If we were to get rid of Sean McDermott, we should have gotten rid of Bean. That was the problem. That's where I think that was a mistake. I was okay with moving on McDermott, but I thought Bean would be going with him.
Yeah, McDermott leaves and he gets promoted. Like, it almost seems like McDermott was collateral damage, right?
McDermott,
like,
he was the scapegoat when.
That's why I'm never a fan of it's always the head coach. I hate that narrative that we need to fire the coach, because if you fire a coach, right, and the team, you've done nothing to improve the team, how does firing the coach help? Look at the Las Vegas Raiders. They are paying 5 coaches right now who aren't coaching the Raiders, and they're on the hunt to look for another one. What man in their right mind would want that job?
Because I'll take it. I would love to be a fired NFL coach. You kidding? Hell yeah. I'd love to get fucking...
for us. Well, what I'm saying, not normal, everyday working people like us here on this panel. I'm saying, like, what coach out there, what established person wanting to become a coach would say, okay, let's see. They haven't won double-digit games in years, right? Let's see. Their last 5 coaches, they fired them all, like, granted, you're right. You're right, because you're still going to get your money. But, like, if you want to coach, you want to coach. Like, that's what you want to do. You want to coach. And that's not appeasing to me, Now, when you look at, that's what I'm looking at. Like, where is the, not loyalty. Oh my gosh. Security. There we go. Like, it's all, everyone's got to do their part. Everyone's got to do their part. From the GM, everyone's got to get a piece, but that head coach gets the brunt of it. Just like when a team does bad, the quarterback gets the brunt of it. It's just an unfortunate thing in football. What's going on, Will?
What's going on, fellas? How y'all doing?
Oh, we maintaining over here. How about you?
Hey, hanging in there, brother. Can't complain.
Yeah, no, we've been just going down the list here of we went over some of the games already. But what do you have to add into the Buffalo Bills, the game yesterday or the other day, and with them firing McDermott? What's your take on it full circle?
I feel like the front office didn't necessarily do Josh Allen or McDermott a whole lot of favors because I understand once you pay the quarterback, you know what I mean, you gotta, like your resources, you know what I mean, like you really gotta hit on those draft picks. They let a lot of players go, cut a lot of players, and didn't necessarily hit on draft picks, didn't kind of replenish, which is not, and I don't know how much of that is. Me and Ryan was having a conversation about the Atlanta situation. You know what I mean? And Moore is getting fired. And I was saying to him, I would be curious to know how much input he had into Penix getting drafted after they had just signed Kirk Cousins. Because you got your GM or your scouts or your vice president, president, whatever, different people in different titles and different organizations, whatever. But oftentimes the coach has say so. It varies from organization to organization. You know what I'm saying, and coach to coach
Absolutely.
and all of that. You know what I mean. So I would just be curious to know if there are things that we may not be privy to. You know what I'm saying? If it's not just X's and O's stuff, but decisions that what I mean, where they kind of leaned his way on it, whether it's draft picks, cutting people, whatever the case may be, that kind of came back to bite them. Because a lot of times it's not often, because correct me if I'm wrong, but they kept their general manager, right? He didn't get fired; they just fired McDermott, right?
He got
Yeah,
promoted.
they
He got
promoted the
promoted.
general manager.
They promoted the
So,
GM.
so you see what I'm saying? Like it might be things where you know what I mean, because at the end of the day, and again, they don't talk about all this, but a lot of times the ownership ends up making a lot of these decisions, and it could be that McDermott and I don't know, the gentleman's name. That's what I mean, the general manager,
Brandon
but
Bean.
but it could be that what I mean. They were both making their cases in front of ownership, and a lot of things that they that ownership leaned McDermott's way just didn't work out. You know what I mean? Whether it's letting Stephon Diggs go, and again, I don't know if this is actually the case. It's just again, I would be curious to know, like, it's kind of a maybe a generic answer, but when all this stuff go on, I would love to have all of the information. You know what I mean?
Let me
That
get 30 for 30. Yeah.
yeah, that really goes in because we really don't get all of the information. You know what I mean? We get the things that certain people want us to know. The media make themselves so important. The traditional media, ESPN, and all of that. Basically trying to say like they trying to give us the information, and it's like no, like we don't even need y'all for that no more. You know what I mean? There's so much social media out here now. Like we really get the best information on social media somewhere, not necessarily from ESPN anymore. You got your Shams, you know what I'm saying, who got certain relationships
Absolutely.
and you know what I mean, front offices or whatever the case may be, and it's always going to be a place for that. You know what I mean? But so much of our information don't come from the traditional media anymore, which is why you see, and I feel like I'm getting all off the, you know what I mean, the subject. I'm sorry, but
You good?
I'm gonna just bring it back to that. I would love to have all of that information to know exactly what all went into this final decision. Because I don't think anybody feels like McDermott is a bad coach per se. They done had some bad breaks. They done had some games where they fought tooth and nail. You know what I mean? And they were just on the wrong side of history in some historically great games. You know what I'm saying?
13
They gave
seconds.
they you know what I mean? They gave Kansas City the ball back with what, like 13, 14 seconds or something crazy like that. And everybody thought that game was over. You know what I mean? Like,
That shit
so
was wild, bro.
like, you know what I mean? So like it's in fairness to them, like, look, obviously Josh Allen made some mistakes yesterday. I feel like he kind of had to be Superman for them, and he was trying to be Superman. You know what I'm saying? Um, they didn't had a lot of talent come through that team. They, like I said, they didn't cause some bad breaks. Um, I would say I agree with you that firing a coach is not always, you know what I mean, the answer. I understand why it happens. You know what I mean? It's easier to get a new coach than it is. Like, you're not going to move Josh Allen. You know what I'm saying? It's easier to find a good coach than it is to find an all-time great quarterback. You know?
That's a
So I
fact.
understand. So I understand why it happens. It's kind of and I hate this phrase, but it's true in a lot of cases. That's part of what you get paid all that money for. You know what I'm saying? They don't say it in the contract. You know what I mean? It's kind of more of an understood agreement that it's a lot of things that come with this life. You know what I mean? That's not all just about football or on the field or whatever the case may be. But it's that is such an interesting situation over there. Like I say, I don't think McDermott is a bad coach. I think, you know, a play here and a play there, they Super Bowl champions already. But remember, I told y'all last week when you asked the question, you know what I mean, about who all the quarterbacks that are not, you know what I mean, playing, and you know whether they win or lose. And I said they damn if they do and they damn if they don't. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like this, so they didn't, and no matter how they lost, like people it's gonna be a certain section of, you know what I mean, sports fans and the sports media that's gonna hold this against Josh Allen, and McDermott just took the loss for it, took the L for it. You know what I'm saying?
I agree.
Absolutely. And, you know, that's what it's going to come down to. And as, you know, we see how, you know, it's crazy to think that 1/3 of the coaches in the NFL coaching spots are available, like, or, you know, some they're filling up. But, you know,
Right.
like that, you know, there was 10 or 11 coaching positions open. And no, you're not wrong in what you're saying at all. You know, it's just going to be an interesting thing to see, you know, when you start to go back and you look at the league from the coaching perspective,
Mhm.
what it's going to turn into, because you got all these moving pieces, and I'm reading about all these people for interviews, and it's going to be interesting for
Let
sure.
who was it that you said is paying like 5 coaches right now? The Raiders, right?
The Raiders.
Okay. Not the thing is, okay, so we all know that the NFL is printing money, right? Like
Yeah, yeah.
literally, figuratively, metaphorically. You know what I'm saying? They printing money,
Absolutely.
right? We just saw that Harbaugh got what, 5 years, 100 million, 20
Yep.
million a year. So again, it's an interesting kind of like dichotomy. Like they're making so much money that now the Giants are willing to pay, you know what I mean, a top-notch coach $20 million a year. And they're also making so much money that it's like, I'm paying you. Ben Johnson is making what, 9 million a year, which again is like an astronomical amount of money. It feels like they're making so much money that it's like, if I'm paying you this much money and you can't get it done, I don't have a problem moving on from you. You know what I'm saying? Because it's not really they still not really taking a loss. You know what I mean? I don't know if it's a team in the NFL that's operating in the red. You know what I mean? Like, so it's
Well,
interesting that the league is making so much money and they're able to pay these coaches so much money, but it's also like they have a shorter leash. You know what I mean? Because they're paying them as much money as they are.
Well, and to that point that you just said, if a team's operating in the red, I don't think that exists. When you look at every NFL game, there is an ass in every seat, right?
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
means they're selling tickets, right?
Mm-hmm.
2, people are dedicated to their team. Like, if you see
Mm-hmm.
my wall here, I got a side picture of Cameron Hayward here. I got a Steelers clock here. I got 2 hats here. I got a Steelers clock there. I got one of those floating heads here. I
Mm-hmm.
got my keypad is Steelers. There's like it's everywhere. So Two is merchandise.
Mm-hmm.
Merchandise is always going to be a thing. And listen, I don't know if you've ever been to a football game. I know I've
Mm-hmm.
been to one or two or a few, and I tell you, there are people who buy that merchandise in those stands. People, those astronomical prices, people are paying for it, right? So the people are watching. Millions of people watch football. And even if the team is terrible, there are local
Mm-hmm.
people and that dedication, people are watching, regardless. You get the NFL ticket. Why you
But
think they're
see,
splitting it on all these streamers? You got to
see,
have
the
five
key word
streamers
is
to watch
watching though.
everything.
The key word is watching. The key word is
Yeah,
watching. As much money as they make off of people, buying tickets, as much money as they make off of merch, um, the overall overwhelming majority of the money comes from their media contracts. You know what I'm saying? So again, that's what I'm
right.
saying. Like they're and the thing the beautiful thing about the NFL is that it's kind of exclusive because they only play once a week. Baseball, you play 5-6 games a week. Basketball, you play 3, maybe 4 games a week. You know what I'm saying? Hockey, the same. Football is, and it used to be Sunday and Monday, and now it's Thursday and Friday and Saturday. But it's still like it's your team plays once a week. Everybody plays once a week. You know what I mean? So it makes it this more kind of exclusive thing. And they get, I don't want to say more for less because the nature of the game and what they, how they give their bodies up and all of that stuff. Like I'm not, you know what I mean? But it they make more money for less time of play, or you know what I mean, of actual television, you know what I mean, visibility than any of the other leagues, and they dominate because in part because it's almost like, again, it's like this exclusive thing. You know what I'm saying? You get it once a
Right.
week. You know what I'm saying? And it's a lot easier. And part of it too, when it comes to the media part of it, a lot of people, and I absolutely love going to the game. Don't get me wrong, especially given that here in Detroit we got a dome, and I ain't got to be outside in that crazy ass cold weather come November and December. You know what I'm saying? But there is part of me, and I know a lot of football fans feel this way. Most times, I enjoy it better watching at home than I do actually in the stadium. Because even if I had, and I've never had these, but even if I had 50-yard line seats, that field is so damn big. You know what I'm saying? And trying to keep track of everything on the field, it's so much easier to do, you know what I mean, in the comfort of my own home, which I
When
think
you
is
have the
also a part
cameras
of
doing
like,
it for you.
so, and I think that's also part of, again, when it comes back to like that media contract, like it's a lot of people who don't even want to go to the game. They gonna watch every Sunday, you know what I'm saying, from the comfort of their own home. And again, they only got to dedicate those 3 hours, you know what I'm saying, or so out the week. Whereas if it's your baseball team, and they doing better now with the pitch clock and all of that, but like them long ass 3.5, 4 hour baseball games 6 nights a week, like that's a lot. You know what I'm saying?
Middle of
3-4 nights a
July,
week, man.
middle of
You know what I
July, it's
mean?
105. You're like, bro.
Baseball, I would definitely 1,000,000% always rather be at the game. You know, it's a whole
Yeah,
different vibe at the game and experience at the game than
Absolutely.
watching on TV.
I completely agree with that.
Especially, all weather, you know what I mean? Like all concerns being, you know what I mean, fair and everything like that. Like, no, million times out of a million, I'm trying to be at a baseball game rather than watching on TV.
Hockey's really fun in person.
I still haven't been, which is crazy, Detroit is supposed to be hockey town and all of that. I've still haven't been to a Red Wings game.
Yeah, definitely give it a shot.
But I'm definitely trying to go. That hockey seemed like it's, you know what I mean, like a much better in person sport than.
I
And
love it.
I'll watch it. You know what I'm saying, especially when the Wings good. I ain't gonna act like I'm, you know what I mean.
I mean,
You know,
check out the standings right now. The Eastern Conference is an absolute mess right now. Like it's crazy.
the Red Wings was just in first place the other day or something like that, right?
So
I
I
don't know
think
if they're still.
everybody's still in it. Everybody, like the whole league, the top team is only like 12 or 13 points above the last place team in the entire conference. It's gonna be a madhouse for the next couple of months in hockey.
I was just saying a couple of weeks ago, like I miss like old school Sports Center when really all they did mostly was just like highlights. Cause that was kind of how I kept up with like the wing. That's kind of how I kept up with the stuff that I didn't follow like that. You know what I mean? Yeah. So hockey, even though I live in Detroit, I don't chase it like that, but I still want to know what's going on with them. You know what I'm saying?
I like that about basketball too. Yeah. I agree.
Basketball, like,
totally.
They show you the highlights for every game that night. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Yeah.
I miss that.
Totally agree. I miss it too.
Man, I mean, hey, you know how it goes. Things can never be the same.
Nope.
You know. So, well, we kind of covered all the games. So, if you want, you want to give a quick take on the other three games outside of Bills that we already done. But what were your thoughts on the Seahawks and the 49ers?
Short and sweet, like that game. That was over after opening kickoff, basically, right?
Bro, that's what we were. Brandon said he didn't get to see it. And I'm like, bro, that was the first play. 13 seconds in, they just set the tone. They went and then they never looked back. The only criticism I had was Sam Darnold didn't do much. And not every game. You play these next two, homie, you're going to have to do something. He didn't have
to, though. In fairness to him, he didn't have to.
Right.
In fairness to
him. But there's going to come a point where he's going to have to. Like this week, he's going to have to do something. He's going to have to do something.
Look, you're preaching to the choir. I keep telling y'all, Sam Darnold, Jared Goff, Jalen Hurts, Purdy, they all sitting at the same table at the club. You know what I'm saying? They trying to get in VIP. You know what I'm saying? Maybe they'll end up in VIP. You know what I'm saying? They might run into one of their boys that, you know what I mean, that is VIP, that help them get in VIP. You know what I'm saying? But so I'm not disagreeing with nothing you saying, but Seattle handled business. Seattle is that, like I say, when that's like that 12th man is real. When he returned that opening kickoff, like back, that it was probably literally probably over from there. Because when that Seattle crowd get fired up like that, man, it's hard to, you know what I'm saying? It's hard to fight through that. So yeah, it's like Seattle handled business. Again, I still don't necessarily believe in Sam Darnold like that, but he got another week, you know what I mean, to prove himself, and that's all he can ask for. That's all they can ask for. The Bears, the Bears and Rams. That was. I definitely think the weather had a big effect on Caleb and Stafford, because I think they both was kind of, you know what I mean, selling some passes and missing some targets. Caleb, I don't necessarily think them interceptions was all his fault. Definitely the one with the last one that in overtime, I feel like the receiver can't let the corner, you know what I mean, be the receiver on the play. You got to fight for the rock, and it felt like he just kind of, you know what I mean. I don't know what was going on that play. I've never seen a 45-yard, 14-yard touchdown. That was that's literally what. That was a Madden on rookie. You know what I'm saying? Play. You know what I mean? He literally ran 30 yards the other way and still completed that touchdown, which really still should have never happened, because Durant should have been in position. I don't know what Durant was doing. I don't know why he just totally misread that. It's still, he should have at least made him fight for it. You know what I mean? It definitely shouldn't have been that easy. That was that was one. It was an ugly game, but the way it wrapped up, it was one of the better finishes I've seen in a long time. Super interesting game. Uh, Bears can't be mad. Nobody was expecting them to be in this position really this year outside of Chicago. So and they got a lot to build on, especially for a team who defense everybody thought was just suspect. They was living off of turnovers all season. Not really a solid defense in general. They know what they need to do moving forward. So Rams and Seahawks round 3. It's gonna be interesting. Um, can't wait to see that game, especially a division game for conference championship. That's gonna be a knockdown drag out fight. I think that one got to be close. And then New England, man, the Houston's defense is so good that Stroud turned the ball, threw 4 interceptions in the first half, and they still, in theory, had a chance to win that game come the fourth quarter. You know what I'm saying?
And that's what I said before you came on. But that was an example of when the point I say the quarterback has to do something. That's where that's again where that was proven. Because had he have not had those picks and maybe had 2 touchdowns, they might have won that game. It might have changed it. But I mean, the turnovers and then it was just a bad night for him. Like
I'll say this: not having Nico was a big deal. You know what I'm saying?
Sam Darnold has JSN,
not having Nico was a big deal. I think that allowed New England to kind of get after it in a way that they wouldn't have been able to had Nico been healthy for that game. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of the questions with New England was about their defense. You know what I mean? And whether they was so nobody was expecting them to play that kind of game. You know what I'm saying? And a lot of it, some of it was CJ. You know what I mean? Just making poor choices. Some of it wasn't his fault. I know it was that one tip or whatever, but here we are. So we got New England and Denver with Bo Nix with a broken ankle, so no Bo Nix. And I don't know if what's my man? God, what's his name on ESPN that went to Michigan and was he like the insider or whatever for the NFL. What's this guy's name? White guy.
Adam Scheffler.
Scheffler. I don't know if he about to be an agent or a PR person or whatever, or if him and Sean Payton is just cool like that and that's his boy. But he was on Get Up the other day selling my man. Was it Stidham that's about to be starting for them?
Yep.
He talked about this one game that he started with 372 yards and 3 touchdowns. And I ain't never seen nobody try to sell the nation on one game like that. You know what I mean? Like he did for Stidham. So again, I don't know if he getting PR pay. I don't know if he about to be an agent. We gonna see what Stidham can do. Wouldn't nothing really surprise me for one game. Anybody can pull one game out their ass. That don't mean that you can, you know what I'm saying, keep it going and get it done. And we done seen you had Jeff Hostetler with the Giants back in the day. You had what's my man with the Eagles? Who was the backup?
Nick Foles.
Who?
Nick Foles.
Oh, Nick Foles. Like we done seen it happen. It's possible. You know what I'm saying? Again, can you? Yeah. Will you? We'll see. It's gonna be a championship weekend. Gonna be interesting, man.
Yeah, it's gonna be something to see. We're gonna have it all. So let's take our picks then for championship weekend. Do any of us believe Denver can win this game?
I believe they can. Sean Payton is Sean Payton. So it wouldn't surprise me, especially given that You know what I mean? He basically, you know what I mean, got the whole week to game plan. You know what I mean, for not having Bo Nix and having Stidham in there. It's not kind of one of those. Is he gonna play? Is he not gonna play? You know what I mean? Is he gonna practice on Tuesday? Is he? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's fair.
I wouldn't put it past Peyton with a full week of preparation. Because again, and I know they gave up 30 points this weekend, but it wouldn't surprise me if that defense show up. You know what I mean, and give them a real chance to win. And Peyton can, figure out, you know what I mean, just enough to make it happen. Still not sold on New England defense either. You know what I'm saying? So
Right.
I think this, for me, that again, this one is kind of like a coin flip. I'm gonna go with Denver.
All right. I can see what you're saying. My only thing is I think that New England's defense, it's not top tier, but what scares me is Houston was the number one defense in the league and they just won with their starter. So now retrospect for me tells me that if you beat the top
Houston defense went crazy though. Houston defense went crazy.
Right, they
like,
did. I'm not saying they didn't, but at the end of the day, all we can do is look at what we have, and they Jesus Christ, they beat that defense. They and now you're telling.
Can I ask a question?
What's that?
Would you say that? Do you feel like Houston's defense was unquestionably the best defense in the league, or would you say that Denver was, you know what I mean, on that same level with them this year?
Listen, I watched this Houston defense obliterate my Steelers 1 week ago. Obliterate. Now I'm not objective to saying that they're in that same echelon, right? But when I'm watching this defense and just throughout the season, it's scary. And Denver's up there too. I'm not saying that they're not. I do believe that we could have 1 and 1A. You could choose however you want. Put those two defenses. I'm just saying based on what they say. I haven't looked personally. It was Houston. If you can beat Houston and they have the starter, you should be able to beat Denver with a backup. Like one, like you said, one game. Scheffner's like, no. I had a guy. I was telling Brandon this. I had a guy, one of my friends, trying to say our backup's no slouch. We can get the job done. Like same thing. Like he was really trying to sell me on this, and I'm like, it's not gonna happen to me. Now, have I seen crazier things? Yes, but business-wise, if I'm the NFL, I'm finding a way from stopping this from happening. No one want to see Jarrett Stidham in the damn Super Bowl because people are like, well, Foles did it, but Foles has some credentials, right? Like he was on the Rams and he had a 27-2 season, touchdown to interception ratio. He at least had something to show for it. What has Stidham done outside of one game?
No, I agree. Foles was a solid starter and an excellent backup.
Yes, he at least, to me, you couldn't when Foles went into the game versus Wentz, Philly simplified the playbook, right? That will work for, 4, maybe 6 games if you can, throw in some tricks, but that ain't gonna work for a whole season. It don't work. It don't. What about you, Brandon? Who you got?
I got New England.
He's like, I got New England. I got New England. So on the other side, we got the Rams, and we got Seattle. The two best wide receivers in the league this season. Smith and Jigba, I believe, had 1,793 yards. Nakua had 1,715. Two quarterbacks that didn't show everything that they could do this past week. But who y'all got this week in this game? And what could be our Super Bowl in terms of entertainment?
I'm going to take Seahawks. I feel like we've seen strong defense, strong running game led by a game manager make it to the playoffs in the NFC before, and I think it can happen again.
What about you, Will?
Taking the Rams. Again, just don't believe in Sam Darnold like that. No, I don't. I don't. I don't want to keep beating the dead horse, but I feel like he's in that class of quarter. Like, can you win with him? Like, if they win the game? I wouldn't like. It's not like I would be like, oh shit, oh my god, that's crazy. Like, no, it's not that. But it's certain quarterbacks that just when they go up against the best of the best, they tend to falter and fall short. You know what I'm saying? Because they can't necessarily do what those guys do. Stafford is in a different class of quarterback than Sam Darnold. I feel like Stafford gonna figure out a way to make it happen. I know they're in Seattle, 12th man, all of that. I respect it. I get it. I understand. Just would not bet my money on Sam Darnold being a Super Bowl winning quarterback. Can you win with him? Yeah. Will you win with him? I've been pretty consistent with that one.
Absolutely. I'm going with the Rams too. Like Brandon and I discussed earlier, was they split their series 1-1. 21-19 in favor of the Rams, 37-36 in that Thursday night banger in favor of Seattle. So, and I think that game also went to overtime, if I'm not mistaken. And for me, I trust Stafford's ability more than I trust Sam Darnold's. And I know Stafford will be able to figure out a way to beat this defense. Will it be stellar? Probably not. Will it be rough? Yeah. Could it be ugly? Possibly. But, you look at the two games, he was able to score touchdowns in both of those games against this defense. So I do believe that the Rams win this game. To me, I've been on the Rams bandwagon all season. So I believe that the Rams are going to take the whole thing, regardless of who they face, if they can win this week. But that's just me. We're going to see. We're going to see.
Yes, sir.
So I want to talk about, before we sign off of here, a couple of these head coaches that have been announced. So I want to ask you guys a question. It's going to sound sarcastic, but it really, really isn't sarcastic. In what world do you fire a coach that just went 9-8 and hire a coach that won 8 games in the last 2 seasons? Kevin Stefanski has been hired to coach the Falcons. 8-26 in the last 2 years. Raheem Morris was 9-8 this season. This team played their ass off.
The Falcons didn't go 9-8 this season.
Yeah, they did.
Or was it
8-9?
8-9?
8-9.
Was it 8-9? So 8-9. 8-9 is still better than 8-26. What are we doing here? Like how? One of you explain to me something I don't know. What can he do to make the Falcons better? Like what? Penix is not that guy, in my opinion. He just ain't it.
So, look, I mentioned that I was curious about how much influence he had on that decision, and if this is one of those things, you know what I'm saying, where he was, riding for Michael Penix, and we saw how all that worked out. And look, I'm not. It's not like I'm out here advocating for Stefanski, especially the way he handled everything this season. But I'm not surprised either that he's getting another. Like, listen, the same way that we know that the Cleveland Browns organization is a clown show, like all the other teams in the NFL know that too. So you know what I mean? It's like, bro, look, we ain't even hold that against you. You know what I'm saying? You actually won Coach of the Year twice over there because nobody believed that you was ever gonna really even have that kind of success. Because that's really what that award is more like, okay, the team that we all thought was gonna suck that won more than we really thought they was gonna win. He did that twice in Cleveland. You know what I'm saying? And I'm not again, I'm not saying that's the end all the beginning and end of his coaching acumen or whatever the case may be. But what I'm saying is, it don't shock me at all that he's getting another opportunity, because who's the greatest coach of all time? Who's the greatest coach of all time?
We haven't discussed that. We were supposed to come up.
I feel like we already kind of all probably gonna be on the same page about this, right? Like, Bill Belichick is the greatest coach in NFL history, right?
Ooh. I mean,
Mike, you gonna hit me with Chuck No?
I mean, listen.
But neither here nor there. The point that I'm making is he's in the conversation for greatest NFL coach of all time, and he failed in Cleveland.
You can put him there. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I mean, but
he failed in Cleveland.
All due respect, the trophy ain't named after Bill Belichick. Just saying. Trophy ain't named after Bill Belichick.
I mean, when it was named, you know what I mean? How many every years before you started your career, you ain't got a whole lot of control over that,
Yeah.
MJ ain't the logo. You know what I'm saying? Jerry West is. So, you ain't always got control over that.
Crazy thing is, kids today probably don't even know who is the logo.
Exactly.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think that for me, it's kind of just like, once again, I'm always like a believer that it starts at the top, right?
Mm-hmm.
Owner, your president, your GM supposed to do all that heavy lifting, getting all the team together. If that GM cannot put together something that can win games and be coached, what can the coach do? That's just what it comes down to.
No, I agree. 1,000,000%. Especially about it all starting at the top. It's a reason why across all the major sports that there are certain teams that kind of regularly find themselves in contention, because those owners, the same way that you need your scouts to identify talent, you know what I mean, for whatever sport it is, you need a good owner that can identify, like, front office talent, that can identify, you know what I mean, good scouts and good coaches, and you know what I mean, it all trickles down, you know what I mean. So it's a reason why the Steelers, you know what I mean, have been the Steelers. You know what I mean? And then I had 3 coaches for 100 years. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? It's a reason why
absolutely.
the Patriots took off after Bob Kraft bought them. You know what I'm saying? And we're seeing that it wasn't just like a Belichick thing. He kind of keeping this thing moving forward. You know what I mean? With the right and proper choices. So yeah, ownership matters 1,000,000%, man. You can get lucky, you know what I mean, and hire a good, you know what I mean, GM that's gonna hire a good coach or whatever the case may be, but you ain't gonna, you know what I'm saying? If you don't know what you're looking for and you don't know how to identify that kind of talent, it's gonna be hit and miss, which most organizations find themselves in that kind of in between space.
Agreed.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. I agree. It's one of those things, and I think sometimes the message does need to, excuse me, be changed. But I don't know. Stefanski has proven he's a good coach. Like you said, he won Coach of the Year twice with Cleveland.
Mhm.
Regardless if it's a, regardless if it's a, you did better than we thought award or not. You won. You
Yeah.
were proclaimed the best
In
coach
Cleveland.
in the league in a bottom feeding team, most known Cleveland. So, got to give him his due. But I want to talk about the Giants. And we spoke, we brought it up before. $100 million. John Harbaugh.
What?
Here's my thing about this. Giants fans are ecstatic, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That's cool. I got no problem with you being happy. My thing is this. They have not done, they are a historically bad offensive line. Knock my glasses off. They have not had a good offensive line ever, it feels like. Like even
Mm-hmm.
when they had Eli and was winning those Super Bowls. If I'm not mistaken, I think Eli is the most sacked quarterback of all time. I could be wrong, but if he's not, he's definitely up there. Their offensive
Mm-hmm.
line is bad. And then, Jackson Dart taking a lot of hits. I mean, a lot of it is self-inflicted because this guy likes to run. It's like, bro, slow the fuck down, or your career is going to be very short. But to me, you got, you got the quarterback. Malik Neighbors will come back. Hopefully, he'll be better than ever. Prayers to Scatterboo. Hopefully, he'll be able to return and play well. Because that break was gross. Oh my
That was
gosh.
nasty. I was watching that game.
Oh. But to me, it's like, how does Harbaugh fix something that hasn't been fixable in 20 years? Eli was winning Super Bowls, 07, 09 we're looking. So, yeah, almost 20 years. Like, how does he help that part of their culture if they won't do it?
Outside of the, I guess I would call it the post Eli. Even I don't know. Look, even during the Eli era, it's not like they were a dominant team. There was a team that caught fire. You know what I'm saying? Got hot at the end of the season twice and ran through the playoffs twice because they had great defensive lines that could get after the quarterback and mask a lot of the other issues they had on defense. And Eli went on like historically great runs in the playoffs stuff that he never, heights that he never consistently reached in the regular season. So like, so really going back to like Parcells, like they've kind of been, you know what I'm saying? I just said it, you know what I mean, in on the last topic. Like, you know what I mean? You can get hot, you know what I mean, and get you one. Like, you know what I'm saying? And they did it twice.
Absolutely.
Like they are like, but they're the outlier. You know what I'm saying? Like they the exception to the rule. And just think about everything it took for them to get there and actually, you know what I mean? And not just, the helmet catch and the Manningham pass and the seconds. Like it was a lot, you know what I mean, in those runs that they had to overcome and, you know what I mean, get through. So for the better, really, outside of those 2 seasons, which again ended it with Super Bowls. I understand how big a deal that is, but outside those 2 seasons, you talk about 30 something years that people kind of look at this as an organization that's kind of, you know what I mean, got some stability but it ain't really been that since Bill Parcells left. You know what I
Right.
mean? For the most part. I think the Moras desire that kind of stability, which is why somebody like Harbaugh, who was in Baltimore for 18 years, uh, coached and had some level of success. You know, a lot of us feel like he underachieved with Lamar, but had success with developing, you know what I mean, a mobile quarterback. You know what I mean? So I think that's part of it too. And also, again, I'm sure that, especially having been the head coach for Baltimore for as long as he was, we all know that, you know what I mean, for a long time, Ozzie Newsome was the one that was, you know what I mean, making the final decisions. But I would imagine that, you know what I mean, over the course of 18 years, Harbaugh had a lot of real estate in the scouting department. You know what I'm saying? And so to your point about the Giants offensive lines and, you know what I mean, them being subpar, in Baltimore, they always seem to find, you know what I mean, replacements for the guys that kind of got priced out, you know what I mean, of their budget.
Yeah.
So I feel like I wasn't certain that that's where he was going to go, but it doesn't surprise me. It doesn't surprise me at all because I feel like also too, he, again, he was in Baltimore for 18 years. So I don't think he want to go somewhere where he might get fired in 2 or 3 years. You know what
Right.
I'm saying? Um, so I feel like it's, and he going to the NFC, not in the AFC. You know what I mean? Changing conferences. So that's not kind of where I thought he was going to end up going. But it doesn't surprise me that what I mean. It definitely didn't surprise me that the Giants were that he was the Giants' first choice. I just didn't know if they were going to be his first choice.
Makes sense. Makes sense. What about you, Brandon? What's your feeling
I
on
feel like
John Harbaugh?
they rushed the process a little bit. I feel like, right? There hasn't been that much time done. There's still. I feel like they could have probably done more interviews or whatnot. I feel, I'm just curious to see if they actually did a full. They were. I mean, if they're dead set on their guy. They're dead set on their guy. I personally think there's better options out there.
So in retrospect, you feel like it's when you get out of a relationship and rush into another one.
Yeah.
That's the rebound.
Yeah, they went to a kind of a safe answer. It feels like.
I mean, I think wholeheartedly they knew who they wanted, right?
Yeah.
That's what I think.
And if they could oblige him, give him what he wanted, and make it interesting for him to be there, and he wants to be there, why not? I mean, the Giants do have the potential to, to be better, to improve. It's not going to be an overnight process. They've started putting the pieces together. Like I said, I firmly believe Malik Neighbors got hurt because he gets overused. Um, he's their best weapon. So what? This was his second season, right? That he just had. He is his percentage usage for his first season was very high. I want to say I seen something, and I don't quote me, that it was like 78% or something. Like that's a lot. No matter who you are, like eventually stuff is going to break. And same thing, So now, you have Scatterboo there. Hopefully, like I said, hopefully he'll be all right. Excuse me. That'll help release some of that usage. And now Dart is it's making his usage go up high. Like, bro, sit your ass down. like, please sit down. I think that they needed a coach who could coach young players. To me, I believe Harbaugh can coach young players. Now, to Will's point, did he underachieve with Lamar? Maybe, potentially. But much like, as Brandon would say, some of the things that have happened to Josh Allen that aren't his fault, like 13 seconds, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was just no one's fault. That just happened, right?
That was Sean McDermott's fault.
Hey,
right,
hey,
well,
but even that was in the AFC Championship, though, right? If I'm not mistaken,
yeah,
that was divisional.
13 seconds was divisional. We
13
did,
seconds.
Yeah,
but Josh Allen has been to the AFC Championship, though, right?
Twice. Yeah.
Yeah.
Multiple times, right?
Yeah.
I think he went twice.
We can't even say that about Lamar.
Nope.
Right. The only point I'm going to make is let's look at Mark Andrews doesn't drop a 2-point conversion last season. We could have had a different conversation.
That's a fact. That is a fact.
That's the only thing that that we got to look at. So I believe that John Harbaugh can coach young players, but to me, sometimes it's like, he's drawing up good plays, and to me, that's where it hurts. Like some of these conversations, because execution ain't the head coach's fault. If you draw up a great play and the receiver drops the ball, you want the coach to go out there and catch it for him? Like
that's a fact.
So that's my whole thing. But I think that the Giants will improve. I don't know how their players' rehabs are going to go. But I do know that they will improve. They will get better. And we're just it's going to be an interesting thing to see. That's for sure.
Can I tell you my theory with on this Harbaugh thing? And I haven't heard any reporting on this or anything, or read anything, or seen anything about it, but just kind of my observation. I think that the Giants might have been scared that there was another job that Harbaugh was really interested in. It was some jobs that didn't come open until after the playoffs, until playoff teams lost and coaches got fired. I really think that Harbaugh might have been interested in that Green Bay job and to see what was going to happen with LaFleur. You know what I'm saying? And I think, the Giants, basically put the money on the table. We know Green Bay is they don't even have an owner. They a publicly owned team. You know what I mean? So I don't think they're about to pay $20 million for a coach right now. You know what I'm saying? But I think the Giants put that money on the floor.
Didn't they just extend LaFleur anyway?
They ended up, but it was questions as to whether, you know what I'm saying, he was gonna get extended or not. You see what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So when Harbaugh got fired, you know what I mean, there was reports that there were playoff teams that were again waiting to see what was going to happen with their season, because maybe they might have been interested in hiring Harbaugh. I think Green Bay might have been one of them teams. You know what I mean? And once he took that job, that's when, correct me if I'm wrong, but LaFleur got extended after Harbaugh took the Giants job, right?
Yes.
I think that might have been. I mean, that's an attractive job. You know what I'm saying? A more attractive job than the Giants. You know what I mean? In theory, because you know what I mean. You already got a proven quarterback. We know Micah got the injury or whatever, but like you got a superstar on defense too. Like I would feel like in a vacuum, that's the more, you know what I mean, exciting job than the one where it's still a young team that's kind of unproven. You guys, it's some potential over there, but we still don't know. You know what I mean? Whether Dart is the guy or not, or Scatterboo is the guy or not, or you know what I mean. So that's just like I say, that's my theory that he might have been eyeballing that Green Bay job, and you know they be having these back channel conversations and all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? Them agents be talking to people that know people that know people.
It's facts. I like it.
Yeah, like I say, that's just my little. That's what I think really was going on.
Nah, you're not wrong with anything you're saying at all. And I think we just have to look at it full circle and just understand, like I always say, and you guys have heard me say this, that sports are business first, and that's and you have to do what's in your best interest to protect your business. So that's the biggest thing. I'm looking forward already to just seeing what happens, and we'll be seeing how the coaching scenario keeps ending up. I mean, I read that we're gonna interview McCarthy. I'm like, no, please no.
I feel like McDermott. I feel like McDermott to Pittsburgh makes a lot of sense.
My only reason that I don't think McDermott or McCarthy would end up getting the job, and this isn't a knock on them, is their ages. Historically, in the three coaches they've had younger coaches come in because they don't make coaching changes, right? Like they don't fire coaches. Coaches usually retire. So, that's the only thing that I would think.
There's no coupons. I say what you want.
Okay.
Who would you prefer them to hire?
Like out of them two, or in general?
I mean, in general, who's your first choice out of the candidates that's still available out there?
Me personally, I've seen Flores' name come up. Say what you want about him, but I don't think he should have left. I don't think he should have been fired. And then
Miami.
He was in Pittsburgh. Huh?
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I don't think he should have been fired from Miami. Yep, from Miami. Then he was part of our defensive team, like with the coaches. I don't really remember what he was doing. He wasn't the coordinator, but he was there, and then he went and became the coordinator there. I like him. I think Robert Saleh deserves another chance. I wouldn't mind seeing him on the sidelines for us. Trying to think of who else is out there. You hear some out the box stuff like the coach of Notre Dame coming in, and I'm like,
yeah.
I want nothing to do with college coaches.
Well, you know what it is. Here's the thing. It depends. You got to have a lot to go to make that jump, right? Like you got to have a lot of that thing, right? Like because you're going to now coaching young men to coaching grown men, right? And there's a level of respect that you have to get from these guys, and it's a big jump when you're going to from kids who now with NIL deals and stuff they're making money, but from people who aren't making as much money to these grown men making millions of dollars. Making the leap is difficult, and it's not good for every coach. Which is why when Raj is so hell bent on Deion Sanders coming to coach in the NFL, I'm like, I don't think that's a good idea. I don't think he'll be not accepted, but I just don't think it'll be an easy transition for him because he's going to come in with an expectation automatically, no matter where he coaches. Because of what he's done on the collegiate level. But people don't understand or refuse to understand that the collegiate level and the professional level are different. Just like, when players, I remember Kyler Murray when he came in and he was like, man, these guys are fast. Like, yeah, bro. You
Like
got to
literally
be ready.
everybody on the field.
Yeah, like yo, because the time, the time that when you hike the ball, on a collegiate level, you might have a good 5 seconds, right? But on that, on that NFL level, 5 is 2, and they're right there. And you're like, shit, like you haven't even thought about progression. So it's the same thing with coaching. I don't think that every coach can make that leap. I don't know if some coaches don't want to. To be honest, they don't. And I can't say that I blame them.
With NIL and everything right now, and I'm not anti NIL. I just want to be clear about that. But with NIL, coaching college basketball and coaching college anything is changing. It's a whole different game now. You know what I'm saying? We literally sitting here watching Indiana in the college football championship game. And if it wasn't for NIL, that would not have happened. You know what I'm saying? If it wasn't for the transfer portal, that would not have happened. You know what I mean? So it's even the successful college basketball and football coaches that have been, had a high level of success for how many ever years, you see a lot of them bailing out because the game is changing so much, they don't even want to deal with this. And you got to be, a different kind of coach now than what it's been the last, 30, 40 years or whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true. You got to be different. Got to be different.
Look, Calipari, whether he wanted, whether he would never acknowledge or admit it, but his kid's been getting NIL. You know what I'm saying? Since he was at UMass, but now he crying. You know what I'm saying? Because he can't get all the players he want like he used to, because the money is out there. You know what I mean? To be had.
No, it's true. It's true, and people aren't getting that. They're not seeing it. It's like what are we doing here? It's like why are we doing this?
Hey, real quick, I just want to double back to my point about Harbaugh and the Giants because I might have buried the lead because this just dawned on me. Maybe it was Green Bay, but maybe it was Buffalo. Maybe he was telling the Giants, I could wait and see what's gonna happen with this Buffalo situation because I'm hearing McDermott might I could go coach Josh Allen. I feel like he was leveraging another situation. Maybe it was Buffalo.
It's possible.
I mean, who wouldn't want to coach Josh Allen? You know what I'm saying? So, and again, it wasn't a secret that McDermott job. It wasn't, it wasn't like official that he was going to lose if they didn't win the Super Bowl. But it wasn't no secret that he was on the hot seat. You know what I'm saying?
Or that at least he shouldn't have been considered for it.
He had some crazy leverage. You know what I mean? Like he really did.
Absolutely. Well, we gonna see. Well, boys, does you guys have a player of the week before we sign off of this thing for the evening?
Player of the week.
Dante Hall.
Okay.
The X Factor, right? That electric kick returner for the Chiefs.
I'm gonna cheat a little bit, man. I could just say Will Anderson, but like that Houston defense as a whole, man, like it's crazy that they played and dominated the way they did and still lost that game. Like they literally played a dominant game and just
They just said it, yeah.
Man, they definitely bought out.
Trying to think. I'm gonna just go for it and just say it. I was watching some Michael Vick highlights the other day, and I'm like, that's my player, Michael Vick, because he was something to watch. Even in listen, he was that Philly run was wildly underrated too. Wildly underrated, because I'll tell you, that Philly run was something. So that's my player this week, Michael Vick. Well, gentlemen, Will, thank you for tapping in with us.
Not a problem.
I know, Raj wasn't here this week. R&B wasn't. Next week, we will do the coaches when hopefully everyone will be here. And Brandon, you can get off at a decent time because I ain't going to lie, I didn't even do it this week. I just had a lot going on and didn't have time to sit down and actually do it. So, you guys have a good night, good week. Stay warm, stay comfortable. And thank you everyone for tuning in. And we will be back next week, next Monday. Hopefully at a decent time. Everyone be great, be positive. See you next week. Peace.
All right, fellas.
Night.